All right. Awesome. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another Men for More Monday. Today's gonna be a little bit different. I know we normally talk about motivation, mindset, etc. But I do want to prepare us for 2026 to make sure we crush our goals, and also let you guys know and give you guys a little insight of what I'm personally doing to make sure that I can reach my goals every month, every quarter, throughout the entire year. But do me a favor, type one in the chat if you're ready, two in the chat if you need some time, and three in the chat if you're hopping off. Let's go. Awesome. Cool. So let's get this thing started. I'm excited to dive in, and then after I will leave some time for Q&A if you guys have any questions for me. And then just for context, my name is Athan Garcia. I'm the senior community manager of the School of Mentors. But also I founded a brand called Men for More, which is all about achieving more when perceived as less, overcoming obstacles even when others believe that you can't overcome them, and overall being your best self and achieving what you feel you deserve, your worth. And so I grew my TikTok page on, to over 10,000 followers. Currently, I'm sitting at 9,900 followers on Instagram, so we're about to hit 10K there. And I'm excited to keep on growing this brand, and I'm excited to share it with you guys. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive in. I do have a little presentation, and the first part is actually going to be needed with your assistance because this is something we're all going to work on together. And so if you have a notepad, bring it out. Three, just kidding. Let's go, April. Tired. Hey, Tom, you're a trooper, man. Appreciate you for joining in. So everybody, do me a big favor. Get out a Google Doc, get out your notepad, whatever you got to do to help each other out here. We're going to make sure we get all this jotted down. So I'm going to share my screen right now, and then we can dive in. All right. Awesome. Share my screen. Perfect. Can you guys see this? Type a three in the chat if you guys can see it. Yep. Okay, perfect. Let's go. All right. So let's dive in. Cool. So here are going to be today's topics that I'm going to go through. And by the way, number three is essential because this is coming directly from the mentors that I have that are millionaires. And this is basically their millionaire playbook that a lot of people overlook. It's so simple, but people overlook it or they don't do it right. So we're going to talk about number three. That's going to be a very important one. And then, of course, to cap it all off, we're going to talk about the key to accountability and consistency. And then, but today's topics: what to start, or excuse me, what to stop, what to keep or start, how to make your calendar your CEO or executive assistant, how to execute on that, and then how to the key to accountability and consistency. So first, we're going to start about what to stop. Now, what do you guys feel like you need to or want to stop in 2026? Just put it in the chat. Distraction noise. Okay, so let's write that down. Okay. Procrastination. Okay, saw that a couple times. Stop off taking action. Stop putting off action. Okay, I think that goes with procrastination as well. Maybe we can put complacency. Overcoming fear. I saw someone put doubt, so I'm gonna put fear / doubt. Oop, hold on, sorry. And by the way, this is an exercise, so that way we can all acknowledge our different things that we're doing, or we have done in 2025 that we don't want to bring in 2026. I know we're already towards the end of January, but better late than never to start. A lot of people start hitting the gym in the new year. By a month in, they're quitting, or they don't go as consistent as they went when they initially started 2026. So I want to make sure that we have this call towards the end of the month, so that way we can dive in, talk about what we did, what we didn't do, and we can continue to stay on the grind, waiting for the perfect time. So I think that goes with complacency, fear of judgment, mindless spending. That's a good one. Okay, extend this. All right, we got two more. Overthinking, a good one. Hold on, sorry, just letting more people in. Procrastination, hesitating, FOMO. All right, I think that'll be our last one. Fear of missing out. And to everybody who's just joining us, welcome in. We're going to talk about right now what to stop in 2026. I'm having everybody participate as an exercise that we can all perform, so that way we can acknowledge our wrongs, try to make it right, and do better going into the new year. Fear of being seen. Awesome. Okay, cool. So we got that down. Now, take a screenshot, write it down, and give everybody a couple more seconds, and then we can move on to what to keep or start doing if you haven't been doing it already. Awesome. Morning gratitude list. Let's go. Show up. Hey, that's going to be a bonus number 8. Oops, sorry. I'm going to put that in the new one. Nice. Okay. What to keep / start. I like that first one. Show up. All right. Focus. Talking to people. Talk to people. This is what I'm personally focused on as well, guys, in 2026. I just recently moved to Austin, Texas. I feel like I haven't done enough networking. So just talk to people. In person is always the best option, by the way, guys. If you guys have the chance or opportunity to, make sure you go to those events in person because connecting with someone face to face is a much better way to build those connections with your surroundings. Self-confidence. Okay. Discipline. Start with the plan, keep learning. And by the way, these things that you guys are writing down for me, this is what's going to go into the calendar. So I'm so excited to talk about it. Consistency, eat that frog. Always start my day with a prayer. That's the way to do it. Zid, I love your options you chose here. I'm gonna bring one of them. Execution. Okay. Obviously, all the ones you guys are writing are great, and I love how you're putting them towards your specific goals in life. So make sure you write those down on your own personal notebook or your Google Doc sheet, whatever you guys are using. But this is gonna be mine because I don't have any more space. But this is all amazing. Love and spirituality. That's awesome. Let's go. Number one for me has to be prayer as well, guys. Just number one, just honing in on the faith. That's what does it. Talk to Google Gemini every day. That's how you get ahead. Let's go. All right, but now to the bread and butter. How to make your calendar your CEO / executive assistant. I color coded these because this is exactly what I have in my calendar. I track everything. And mind you, sometimes I don't stick to my calendar, but that's fine. As long as I have it in my calendar, I know that it exists. If it's not in your calendar, it doesn't exist. So I even put in what time I go to sleep, what time I wake up. And I even have what time I eat, even though it doesn't happen at the specific time. I'm not insane. I don't have a set period of time where I eat. Sometimes it fluctuates. I have it in my calendar so that way I know I'm supposed to eat around this time. Okay. So number one, and by the way, this is going to be something that you guys are going to do right now, whether you have Google Calendar, Outlook, whatever you guys use. Make sure you guys do this right now and color code it right now so that way you don't delay it any further. Okay. So number one, personal or hobby time. So this can be whatever you guys enjoy doing. Okay. You enjoy reading in the morning, put time aside for that. If you enjoy going to play a sport, put time for that. If you love going for a run slash walk, put that down. This will allow you to make time in your schedule, even though you feel like you don't have time. You feel like you don't have time because you don't know how to prepare certain activities such as that, right? So, personal or hobby time, that's going to be in green. That's why I have it. You guys can change it. It's up to you guys. Awesome. Okay. Type one in the chat when you guys are ready to move on to number two. Awesome. Ready? Ready? Okay. Give it a couple more seconds. Okay. Give me one quick second. Okay. Perfect. All right. Ready? Ready? All right. Let's go. Number two. These are going to be your non-negotiables. What is a non-negotiable within your business and within your life that you need to do? Okay. For example, for me, gym. Gym is a non-negotiable. Whether it's going to the gym for a run, hitting hitting full body, chest, whatever the case may be, that's a non-negotiable for me. Also, what can be your non-negotiables that you highlight in red? Any meeting that you need to attend, whether it's like a weekly meeting with your team, right? Whether it's a quarterly meeting, whatever the case may be, this is your non-negotiable because you can't miss this. If you miss this, then you're doing something wrong, or you're sick, or something's going on. Okay. So your non-negotiables I would highlight in red. All right. Type a 3 in the chat when you guys are ready. Okay. Awesome. Next is continued education. So this goes into the education piece, right? Continuing to learn, so that way we don't get stuck. That's the number one thing. So for me, continued education can mean a couple of things, right? This goes into uninterrupted work, right? So for example, you are working throughout your day on your business. If you haven't started a business, you're doing other priorities, right? Maybe some chores, hobbies, etc. And you haven't set time aside for uninterrupted work or continued education in researching a specific topic, either about your business or about a business you want to start. And you haven't made time aside for that during your day to focus on. That's going to be what you're going to highlight in purple. In purple, you're going to set aside a time, either an hour, 2 hours, however long you feel. At the end of the day, this is your calendar. However long you feel you need for continued education throughout your day, you're going to highlight that. And by the way, this doesn't have to be an everyday thing. You can do this twice a week. You can do this 3 times a week. But as long as you set time aside for it, you know that you're keeping it a priority because it's on your calendar. And so you know you're going to do it. What to learn here, where to learn it from. Question, will we get access to the recording? Yes, 100%. No worries. Yes, you'll get access to this recording. And I'll also include some notes as well, timestamps if you guys need. Okay, awesome. 3, we're good to go. So as long as you have this at least twice a week on your calendar, you know that you're trying to get ahead in your education. Not important. I put that in gray because a lot of times we have calls that we have scheduled on our calendar that we don't need to necessarily make. Or maybe there is something that you have on your schedule that is not as important as other things. So you want to have it on your schedule to be notified that, hey, this is going on, but you don't exactly need to attend it. And so that's what I have is not important. I have several calls that are scheduled on my calendar that I don't necessarily need to attend, but it's good to know that in case I do need to make an urgent appearance, I go ahead and have it on my calendar so I know when it starts. Awesome. Sounds good. And now number 5 is going to be everyday necessities I have in yellow. So everyday necessities, what is that? This is from waking up to going to sleep to eating and everything in between. If there's something that you have as a necessity throughout your day, make sure that it's in yellow. And I'm talking about like human functions, right? Your non-negotiables, prayer, faith, whatever, can go into non-negotiables. But in terms of like everyday necessities that you perform, right, like waking up, going to sleep, eating, I would put that in yellow. So that way you separate it. Obviously, it's a non-negotiable. But you see too much red on your calendar. It's like, okay, where's my like stuff that I need to do throughout the day? And so everyday necessities, I would put in yellow. I like to color code anything that I want to happen. 100% is green for positive perspection. Amazing. Clean environment. Let's go. All right. Once you guys are done with that, let me know. Type a 5 in the chat once you guys are ready to go, or type a 6 in the chat once you guys are ready to go to page 6. Okay, perfect. Which would be for a 9 to 5 job? That's a great question. So you could put in your non-negotiables from 9 to 5. You have work, but it's what you do afterwards, right? From 5 to 9. So or even before, for example, let's say you're an early bird. You wake up earlier before your 9 to 5. Let's say you wake up at 6. You can set aside time in the morning to go to the gym. That's your non-negotiable because it makes you feel better, execute better throughout the day, and it gives you more energy to last throughout the entire duration of your job from 9 to 5. And then once you get off, you have even more energy because you hit the gym in the morning and you know you don't have to do it later. I used to work at 9 to 5 and I would hit the gym afterwards. It would suck. I would feel tired, exhausted. I didn't feel like I would get the best exercise in the morning. And so having this color coded, even though you're working on a 9 to 5, it's essential and it helps you get ahead of your other peers because maybe they wake up late and then they have to get ready to go to work and then afterwards they're tired, so they just go home, make some food, and then watch TV and go to sleep. Right? So can you repeat not important, please? Yes, not important is anything that you need to have on your calendar to know and understand that this is happening at this time, but you don't need to attend it. So, for example, like let's say you need to call someone at a certain time, then you have that as not important because you don't necessarily need to call them at a specific time, but it's good to have it on the calendar because you need to get notified that, hey, you need to reach out to this person. For me personally, I have calls scheduled on my calendar that I need to know in the back of my head that they're going on, but I don't need to exactly attend those calls. I just need to know that, and this goes into the business operations side, school mentors, school of content. I need to understand and know that they're going on, so I can know that if someone's reaching out to me about a problem with the call, I'm already prepared because I know that the call was supposed to occur at this time. So that's why I have not important. Morning is better, 100%. This was good. My calendar looks happy. Let's go. May I know if you already have the productivity AI introduced? In terms of what, Ellen? What's your time split across those categories in the day? That's a great question. I can go through them right now. All right, here we go. This is for today, okay? So my yellows are wake up, 6 to 6:30. I have 7:30 to 8 read personal time. That's in green. 8 to 8:30 I have eat, and then this meant for more Monday call is in red from 10 to 11:30. I have uninterrupted work from 11:30 to 12, and that's in purple, by the way. In red, I have an onboarding call from 12 to 12:30. From 12:30 to 1:30, I have gym. That's in red. And then what's in my gray right now are calls that we have for our higher ticket community. I need to know that those are going on and to send a quick message and saying, hey, like, is everything good with the call? But that's in my gray, right? Red, I have a team meeting, and then a bunch of other meetings that I read throughout the day. I have hobby time, which is essential. So hobby can mean multiple things. I can either go for a run, go for a walk, uh, do an activity, something. That's from 4:30 to 5:30. And then what's also a part of my hobby time is television. I watch some television at night while I'm eating dinner. So that's on my list. And then by 10 o'clock, it's yellow, go to sleep. So to give you guys a perspective of how my day is. All right. Okay. Awesome. These are great questions. We can leave them to the end. I do want to move on though, so that we can get through everything. But next up, how to execute. So these are going to be all simple, but oftentimes it gets overlooked. So one, have a primary goal for 2026. What's something that you want to accomplish? And you can think big. The main objective here is, and this is directly coming from the School of Hard Knocks, Dave taught me this, it's better to overestimate what you can do in a year and just go for it, because you'll realize you'll get so much closer than if you were to set your standards, set your bar so low that it's easy to obtain, because then you're going to procrastinate, you're not going to move as fast, and you're going to get less work done than you could have gotten done in a year's time. You probably would have got a year's done work in 6 months if you would have just set your goals higher. So that way you have more area to cover, more to run for, to chase towards, right? And so at the end of the day, even if you don't achieve it, you'll at least be so close that you'll be proud of yourself and you'll be like, man, I can't believe I did all of this in a year and I executed correctly. I didn't waste any time and I kept moving forward and progressing each day. We all overestimate the downside, underestimate the 100%, like the 10x concept, exactly, Mark. And then number two, have one primary goal each quarter. So this can be something that you want to achieve exactly like the primary goal for the entire year, but every quarter you have something you want to chase that's grand. So it keeps you moving, right? That dopamine doesn't get lifted up at the start of the year and then drops down in the middle of the year. You keep that dopamine rush going because you'll constantly have something to chase, constantly have something to achieve for. And then these are the three things that I would ask yourself during this process. Does this move me towards my primary goal? Does this compound long-term towards my success? And is this something that future me would think? So for example, let's say there's an action, there's a risk you need to take. Is this going to move me towards my primary goal, even if it doesn't work out? Is this going to be a great learning lesson that can move me forward more than if I were to miss out on the opportunity, not perform it, etc.? That's something you got to ask yourself. Second, is this compound long-term towards success? Is everything I'm doing right now building up for a higher purpose that's going to help me achieve what I want to do by the end of the year? If so, then do it. If not, simple as saying no. C, is this something that future me would think? Am I going to look back on this with fond memories, or am I going to look back on this and kind of turn the other way and be like, I don't know why I did this? And like I said, this goes in with risk. Take the risk or lose the chance is one of the Hard Knocks' favorite quotes. Why? Because regardless if the risk doesn't work out, this is something that future me would think. Because how disappointing would it be that something that you wanted to go for, you didn't end up going for, and it turned out that it could have been something grand. So I would say taking the risk is something that future you would think, even if it doesn't work out, because at the end of the day, failures are not failures. They're learning lessons once you make them a failure and you end up quitting. Risk regret, 100%. Let's go. All right. And now last but not least, to close this off, the key to accountability and consistency. Number one, self-accountability eventually breaks if you don't get 1% better each day. There's only so much you can say to yourself until you start procrastinating, getting fearful of missing out, right? And overall, you can hold yourself accountable in the wrong ways, in the sense that, you know what, it's just one piece. I'll have it. It's just this. I'm victim to this. There's days where I just want to eat a whole entire pizza, right? Or I just want to eat a bunch of junk food. But you hold yourself accountable by getting 1% better each day. If you don't make your bed in the morning, make your bed. If you don't brush your teeth in the morning right when you wake up, brush your teeth in the morning. Simple stuff like that. Me, I'm doing that. I'm working towards that each and every day, and I'm getting 1% better each day. Because here's the thing: if you get 1% better each day, eventually you're gonna hit 99 and then 100, right? And it's not gonna be perfect. You're not gonna be perfect ever. But the thing is, you're gonna build up a routine constantly that helps you maintain and build up all those 1% better each days. And so that's the most important thing, is that you just have to make sure that every day you're doing something that you didn't do before, which will cause a chain reaction of events that you haven't seen before, and eventually will lead you towards a path of success that you've never seen before. Compound effect. Failures quitting, 100%. Gotta risk it for the biscuits. Let's go, Michael. Who's not brushing their teeth in the morning? You'll be surprised, Jermaine. You'll be surprised. Second, environment is everything. A mentor taught me this, which was so life-changing to me, because he was telling me, I had a client that couldn't understand why he was having a mental block. He didn't know how to move forward with his business, and he was writing a book at the same time, and he couldn't find the creativity to continue writing. He would lock himself in his room, shut the blinds, put his phone in the other room, and lock in with work, and he still couldn't focus. And then my mentor told him, what do you do in the morning? Oh, I do the same thing every day. I make myself a coffee, I shut the blinds, I work, and I put my phone in the other room, and then boom. He said, go to the beach. And the guy was like, what are you talking about? He's like, go to the beach in the morning. Don't do that. Go to the beach, take your laptop, and sit near the waves, and just look out and listen. And then afterwards, he came back to him and told him that his mental block wasn't there anymore, because he changed his environment. He changed his routine. Now, this can happen quarterly, monthly, weekly, whatever the case. I don't recommend weekly, but however, whatever you feel is right. If you need to change an environment, make that change. It does not matter what the change is. You can go to the beach, like I mentioned, or you can go to a coffee shop. Hold on. Let me, okay, cool. Yeah, you can go to the beach. You can go to a coffee shop. You can go somewhere where you feel like, hey, this is where I'm going to get a lot of great focus. And you'll be surprised at how much faster you are able to accomplish things, how you'll never feel stuck. Make sure your space is clean as well, 100%. And last but not least, of course, I had to include this because this is basic knowledge. If you have coaches, whether it's a personal trainer, right? If you have mentors for business, and overall just your peers, this will help this process exponentially. Why? When you have a personal trainer, does that not make you want to work harder? Does that not make you understand, hey, this is going to be good for me, and I know what routine is to stick on because this person has done it? When you have a mentor, am I not going to take this person's advice because they've achieved the success that I want to achieve? With your peers, when you go to the gym with your friend, does that not make you want to work that much harder? Or does that not make you want to go to the gym and excites you much more than if you were to go by yourself? Something as like a run, right? Runs suck. No one wants to go for a run. However, if you go with your friend, you're like, okay, now I got to wake up at this time because my friend's going to be up, and I'm actually going to enjoy because we're going to have great conversation, and before you know it, we're going to run 5 miles and we're good to go. We can go home and we feel accomplished for the day. Whatever the case may be, make sure you have these around you. Doesn't necessarily have to be something you pay for. You find mentorship in the community right here, and I would say you get a return on your investment tenfold. So that's it. Thank you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm gonna leave it out to Q&A if you guys have any questions. But real quick for feedback, type a 10 in the chat if this was helpful. Was this helpful? Awesome. Let's go. And I promise you, if you make these changes, you will see drastic success that you've never seen before. But it's also how you perceive it. If you don't work towards these things, or if you work towards them in the incorrect way by procrastinating, leaving things out, not doing what you said you were going to do yesterday or last month or before the new year started, you're going to go down a different path. But it's up to you which path you want to go down. So this was all kudos to my mentors, my coaches, my peers. That's how I was able to attain all of this information that I'm sharing with you today. And so I'm excited for you guys to keep crushing it. And what calendar do you use? I personally use Google Calendar. That's what I find to be the easiest for me. My work. What's your IG, Athan? Yeah, put it in the chat. Let me find it. All right. So here's my personal if you guys want to check it out. But my Meant for More account is going to be right here. And by the way, this is an extra mindset shift. If you guys want motivation throughout your day, I highly recommend checking it out. Obviously, I don't expect you guys to follow. But if you guys want motivation, I do post motivation clips. So that way you can get your day started. Possibly it could be that mindset shift that if you get on your phone in the morning, you see that motivation in the morning and you're like, hey, I gotta get up. I gotta go do something. Awesome. You mentioned you got a 10K on TikTok. What do you make content around? I make content around motivation clips. So talking head from different entrepreneurs. And I mainly do this to follow along with my brand, build up that audience of people that want to change. And that's mainly what my brand is centered around. Hence why I started doing the motivation clips. For my own personal brand though, however, eventually I'm gonna start doing something along the avenue of what I want to do. So that way I'm able to at least do what I love on both regards. Do you have to have personal brand to be successful? It definitely helps. You don't have to. But overall, you are your personal brand. And so whenever you go to a meeting, you meet individuals, a business event, a workshop, can't open your Insta page. Let me see if it works. It's working on my end, but you guys let me know. You are your personal brand. And so regardless if you have a following or not, you are going to represent what you believe in regardless, right? Whether you're a joyful, hungry entrepreneur, they're going to see that in you. That's your personal brand. Whether you like fashion, you like fragrances, whatever the case may be, whatever you're into, you're an engineer, you're an HVAC company, you're a lawyer, you're a plumber, that's your personal brand because that's a part of you. Awesome. Okay. All these questions are great. I do want to get to the hands raised. So if you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand. I know we have an ample amount of time, so which I'm glad that we were able to finish off at the 30-minute mark with the presentation. We can get to Q&A. Give me 1 second. Let me spotlight myself. All right. Joshua, great to see you, man.
Good to see you too, Athan. How are you?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm good. Nice to see familiar faces also. Coach Jara, April, Josephine, CJ. And yeah, kicking off the week this way is great. I think changing our mindset about Mondays is a great way to start because I know there's a lot of people that say, oh no, Monday I have to go back to my job and going back through. So doing what we feel we're meant to do and just loving Mondays, it's a great start of the week. It's amazing. I just wanted to say that a big lesson for me was that it depends on what you work on, what you prioritize. Because for me, it's kind of ironic. You see all those motivation videos where they say cancel your Netflix subscription, cancel your HBO, and me as an actor, I should actually be updated on the TV shows, on the movies, because or else how am I going to tell directors, casting directors, agents what I want to be on or what world I see myself in? So, I mean, at least for my industry, it is important to keep in touch with Netflix and Disney, and because that way, if I'm watching as an actor's point of view, not watching like passively, just distracting myself, it's a great source of income because that way I can see myself in which world I visualize myself and how I can work through it. And also like just working on your goals. I think this presentation was very helpful because yeah, for me at least, it's funny because I know what I have to do, but sometimes I don't execute because it's something of mindset because it's something I have to work on. So I was actually thinking maybe like changing my environment could be something because I'm also locked in my room. Here's where I try to work, and sometimes the ideas just don't click. So yeah, just wanted to say that. Thanks.
100%. Thanks for coming up, Josh. And yeah, keep on surrounding yourself with the environment that you want to achieve, right? So
Definitely.
exactly as you described. Appreciate you.
Keep going.
Yes, sir. Great to see you, Josh. All right. Josephine, great to see you. Welcome up. I'm glad you're here.
Hi, Athan. Hi, everyone. Thank you for your presentation. I really liked it to have like that kickoff for 2026. For everyone who doesn't know me yet, hi, I'm Josephine. I am a holistic health scientist, coach, and therapist. And I really liked those steps because, like you said, they are simple, but most people overlook them and they go for much bigger, complex, tactics and stuff. So like stick to the basics and just execute them. And I really, really like the how to make your calendar your CEO, especially when you're a solopreneur and you're just by yourself. So who are your accountability is sticking to? So I really like that concept of just giving it that shift of perspective. And I want to add to the what to stop, because I think this is really important to make it exactly the first step to stop something before you're aiming towards something else. Because when you're in a car, you can hit the gas pedal as much as you want, but as long as you stand on the brakes, you will never go forward. So it's very, very important to loosen the brakes, and then just with a little bit of energy fueling into, you can go very far, even in the first gear. And I saw that last week when we had the millionaire call in Adam Weitzman very well, because his whole life story of being in a prison and making big mistakes, he had to forgive himself that he had that period in his life to go forward, and he had to change routines. And this is the point that I got out from that call, which I now thought about like today, because this is really important to stop self-regret for what you have not achieved in 2025 or last week or last month. So to stop blaming yourself and pondering on, oh, I wasn't good enough, or I wish I would have done this or that, just loosen the brakes. And because I was so inspired by that, I created a little cheat, you say, I think, like practice of radical self-forgiveness. And I'm happy to share with everyone just some steps in a practice on how to let go of the old in order to, move forward with the new. I had to do that myself. I was, feeling guilt of things I did like 30 years ago, ago, but they're still, stuck with me. So I really, really like that you hit it off with the what to stop, and it fits perfectly.
Thank you so much, Josephine. And 100%, we would love that cheat sheet. If you want to drop it in the chat and then even make a post about it in the community.
Oh yeah, I already did.
People.
I did, but I think it wasn't because it was on the weekend. But please tell me, are you interested in the self-forgiveness? Please put a 1 in the chat and I will just give it to you. Okay, great. I will. Thank you so much, Athan, and I hope I wish you best to achieve your goals every quarter and every day.
Let's go. Thank you, Josephine. You as well. Great to see you. Awesome. All right. Next up, we have Malika. Welcome up. Great to see you. I love the background.
Oh yes, thanks. It's so local. But first of all, I do have a question. Also, is this a space to ask that?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay, perfect. But before I hit the question, I do want to say, Josephine just reminded me on the last meeting, I offered a 1,000 no journal template that I created on Google Sheets, and basically it's for helping one overcome fear and making sure that whenever you hear a no, you're accomplishing a task, and so you'll get your nervous system more like I would say adjusted to hearing no, because you understand you're thinking about it as a task completed rather than like a dismiss towards you. So even if you get, of course, like 1,000 no's, like they're not going to happen consecutively. So you'll also get some yeses in there, but you still have to make the goal of getting some no's. And I'll just say, from that 1,000 no journal, I was able to get responses from like CEOs, VPs of big companies, and like sometimes I was just asking like to be a model or have them for a workshop for the Her Grace Space ministry. And so like that really helps with like getting that motivation from like even just getting a response sometimes and like getting an answer, and like people are actually willing to help. So I'm gonna do what Josephine did, and you can type 2 in the chat if you would like that. And yeah, now onto my question. Yes, how can a one-person team like myself effectively balance creative production, like content creating, stuff like that, with daily operational tasks like updating website, updating apps, keeping in communication with the current members in a single schedule without hitting a wall of burnouts?
Yeah, 100%. Here's what you do, okay? You ready? You set aside time for yourself on your calendar. That's what you do. Let me tell you guys this. A person who sleeps 4 hours and works those 4 hours they're supposed to be getting sleep is not going to be as productive as someone who sleeps 8. That is the number one thing that an 8-figure entrepreneur told me, is that if you don't get your 8 hours, if you don't make time for yourself, you're not going to be as productive, as driven, as sorry, just got a message. Okay, you're not gonna be as productive or as driven as the person who's burning themselves out. That's the reality of it, is that you can work 12, 15 hours a day, Malika, okay? But however, how long can you endure that for until you eventually burn out and then you crash and you burn, et cetera, et cetera? The recovery process is gonna be so much longer than if you were to set aside time, 30 minutes an hour each day for yourself. Whatever it is. If you love playing the piano, play the piano for 30 minutes or an hour each day. Whatever eases your mind, whatever eases your worries, whatever brings you back to that internal self, whether it's reading the Bible for an extra 30 minutes or an hour each day, whether it's some type of meditation, et cetera. Please do me a favor and do that, regardless of how many things are coming your way. Like for me, I'll give you a quick insight. I'm working for the team, and we have several different projects we're working on each day. I'm currently doing my own personal brand, for more on the side. Those are all edits that I'm creating from scratch. It's not me ripping someone else off. And I'm also working towards a new endeavor of starting my own personal brand within myself and my hobbies, like what I like. And so I figured if I can combine content creation that I want to pursue with something that I enjoy doing, then it goes hand in hand. And it allows me to kind of have that time for myself while also creating content surrounding it. And so that's the way to combine the two, right? But overall, forget the content side. Make time for yourself, whatever the case may be. Self-care is wealth care, right? So certain things like that, I promise you may feel like you're not utilizing time to the best of your abilities, but I promise you, you'll see how productive you are when you're cool, calm, and collected than when you're overly stressed. It's going to be like night and day. So that's what I would say is the best recommendation I could give.
Thank you so much. That's so crazy that you said 4 hours. That's exactly the amount of time I got of sleep. I literally went to sleep at 5 a.m. this morning, woke up at 9. So love that. Love that, that I have the Holy Spirit talking to the rest. Yeah, love that. Heart.
100%, but yeah, Malika, thank you so much for coming up and keep on crushing it. Keep sharing, everybody. You guys are all amazing people. Please share your wins in the community. Any free game that you learn along the way, feel free to share that. All of your voices are important. That's the number one thing I want everybody to understand here. I'm hosting the call, but I'm looking towards all of you because each of us have something we have to share, have to learn from one another. How did you know I only slept 4 hours last night? So don't rush the goals you have for yourself. So that's the thing, is like, what is rush? Rushing as in perform sloppy? A lot of times when we rush, we miss a step or two, right? So I wouldn't say rush. I would say make sure you're the sharpest you can be when you're chasing your goals, so that way your output is much higher than someone who's completely out of it, whether it's lack of sleep, whether it's lack of self-care, whatever the case may be. You will be so much more productive than the person who's just rushing everything. Plus your work will be so much more clear, concise, professional, and then the other person who's just doing everything sloppy. Impossible to sleep 8 hours a day and to do everything if you have a full-time job. Hey, I will say this. If you have a 9 to 5, 5 to 9, set aside at least an hour or two to work towards your goal, your business, whatever the case may be. But it's easier said than done. I completely understand that. But it's just mastering yourself. Sometimes it's okay to sleep a few hours per day if you know this moment can never come back. But the next day you sleep 12 hours. If that works for you, then by all means. I personally don't like 12 hours. It makes me feel sluggish, just out of it throughout the day. Have a 9 to 9 p.m. Cleaner, you're a trooper. And by the way, 9 to 9. That's like what is that? How many hours is that? Is it like 12? Yeah. See, there's similarities there. Throughout your guys' day, here, by the way, I do want to move on, but throughout your guys' day, or let me ask this first. What do you guys do more specifically within your work? I'm curious to know. You need to get out of the hamster wheel, 100%. While you guys are typing in the chat, I'm going to bring up Coach Jay. Coach Jay, welcome up.
Hey,
Before you say peace, I'm going to say, you beat me to it. Peace, Coach Jay. How are we doing?
Peace, brother. I'm actually finished up a transaction here. Can you bring me up right up to the next person?
Yes, sir. Got you.
I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. All right. Dr. Jacinta, welcome up. Oop. There we go.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Hope y'all doing well today. Thank you, Athan. Of course, and I had actually 2 questions, but one of them I asked in the chat more specifically about your transition, because I know you talked about that, touched on it briefly in some of the calls, going from W-2 to transition to working for yourself. If you have time to answer that as a general question, that'd be great. One of the questions I have specifically is I am doing more, I would say, direct cold outreach to some local businesses because I'm an executive coach and leadership communication strategist. So I'm helping them in contacting offices, some of your med spas, other excuse me, dental practices, etc., to try to engage with them, to try to schedule time to give their teams communications trainings, help leaders communicate under pressure, etc. So I wanted to get your insight on that because I haven't received a lot of responses back just yet. So I wanted to see if you could share some best practices possibly.
Yeah, 100%. So for the first one, for the first question, I'll be happy to dive in. I was living in Los Angeles, California, not too long ago. I think just like honestly a year and a half ago, I think. And I was working 9 to 5. I was a retail manager, a retail store manager, and I was going to school full time as well. So full time job, full time school, and then I was also doing my best to connect with people in the community. I was a member before I was a community manager in the School of Mentors, and so I knew that to get out of this cycle of working 8 hours a day, sometimes even more, going to school full time, which I didn't want to do, I knew that something had to change within myself. I needed to inch my way towards my goal of entrepreneurship and have it get in there, get in that cycle of my process, so that way eventually it can overtake the two. And eventually it did. So I would do anything. I would, and to touch on like my job as well. Like I started off part time. I got promoted. I just never felt full with myself. I knew that I was like, not to sound corny, but I knew I was meant for more than the job, than what other people perceived me as, et cetera, et cetera. To everyone else's eyes, especially my family, because they're all a bunch of 9 to 5 workers. I was seen as like the person that was doing good. Why? I had a full time job and I was going to school full time and I was getting good grades. I just never felt fulfilled. And if you guys understand that, and you can agree that it's when you see a piece of paper that says a grade that you received from just studying and memorizing things, it's just not as fulfilling as you constantly on the ball, completing different tasks throughout the day, getting thrown 1,000 different problems at once. But it's your problems, and that's what makes it all worthwhile. And so same thing goes with work. I was doing the same thing for work every single day, dealing with customers, memorizing the floor, putting different things out, highlighting different promotions. It wasn't fulfilling by any means. I didn't feel like I was utilizing my potential. And so with that, I would constantly talk to my peers in the workplace. I said, don't you feel like this job like is not the end all be all, and there's got to be a bigger purpose to life than this? And some said yes, but I was shocked to hear that. Some said no. Like some said that I don't know just what I want yet. My boss, who was literally months older than me, I asked him when I put in my 2 weeks, I said, let me ask you this. What do you want to do with your life? What are you passionate about? And he's like, I don't know, man. I'm still trying to figure that out. And honestly, I'm just here along for the ride, doing what I have to do.
Mm.
And he told me, which I'll never forget, he used to commute 2 hours from LA to Santa Barbara to work for the retail store. And like I didn't tell him this directly, although I wish I had, but imagine all that time you're putting into commuting 2 hours, if you can put that into a business model or something you're passionate about. Because if you're passionate about something in today's society, you can turn that into a business, whether you realize it or not. And so I just thinking about all of that compiling into me just not wanting to settle for less. And by no means is retail work not a good start. Builds discipline, gets you on a set schedule. It prepares you for long hours of work in the future. However, it doesn't, if you know, like myself, that you deserve to do something bigger, it's definitely not going to be your end all be all. And it certainly wasn't the case for me. To your other point now, do you mind repeating your question? Sorry, I know you're talking to these different individuals. You're trying to start coaching.
Sure. So there's a couple companies I've been reaching out to. I'm new. I'm local in Fort Lauderdale. So if anybody's in South Florida, let me know. But there's a couple companies I've been reaching out to contact them to learn a little bit more about their businesses, let them know that I can support them with communication training for their teams that are perhaps under pressure, etc. And I've sent out some messages. I've sent out some messages via Instagram also and some emails as well. I haven't really been getting a lot of responses back, so I wanted to get some insight from you on that.
Yeah. What specifically are you selling for them, and why would they be interested?
So one of the things what I've been saying, I'm trying to go about it in a way of, hello, how are you? I really like some of your content, saw your videos, I make comments, and I just let them know that I've helped many practices be able to communicate more confidently under pressure when they have those challenging situations with their clients or amongst their team members. So that's kind of what I've been saying so far to them. Do you have any additional recommendations?
I do, because and by the way, this is because I appreciate you and I want you to grow. I overlook those messages all the time.
Okay.
I do just because I respond to messages. And by the way, this is coming from my Men for More account because I've grown somewhat of a decent following. People message me all the time trying to sell their services. The ones I respond to though, however, are, hey, I love your work. It resonates. Keep crushing it. And boom, that gets me in the door. I respond.
Okay.
I say, thank you so much. And then I start asking questions. That would be the number one thing. Is just start asking questions about what they need. Like, what currently are you struggling with in your business? Do you feel like if you had this service that it would benefit you? Why would it benefit you? And then slowly but surely, they're buying into your product without you even mentioning you have one. And so that's how I would be on the Instagram DMs. Now, I will say the response can be so-and-so, just because it is Instagram. A lot of people don't respond to messages or DMs, etc. But I will say in life in general, whether you go to different events, whether you go to this, that, etc., you're going to start selling people the product without you even mentioning the product. Because eventually you'll find their pain point. And once you find that pain point, that's their weak spot of like, hey, if I had this filled, my business will be growing 10x. And that's where you come in. And so it's one of those things where it's going back to Jordan Belfort. You can't sell someone who doesn't want to be sold. However, you can unlock and find that pain point that you can solve for them. And if it resonates, if it's the same thing, a lot of times you may have a conversation with someone that it's not even someone you want to communicate with. So you just wasted your time. However, if you ask them questions, it's simple, straight to the point. It's a faster response time. They're not even going to realize that you're trying to sell them something. They're just going to pour out to you and be like, my business is doing this. I wish it would be doing this. I don't know what to put in place. My systems are like, there's a leak in the foundation. I don't know what to, and you're like, you know what? I have the perfect solution for you. Do you have time to jump on a quick call? And you give them free game. That's an extra bonus. Is that you give them free game and then say, by the way, I do this as a service. What do you currently charge right now? What's your bandwidth, et cetera, finance, et cetera, whatever the case may be. But you leading towards that by just being that person that they can go to, they're automatically going to be bought into you. And if they're bought into you, then they're going to want to purchase your product. So that's personally my recommendation. I've heard the same thing from the team because I asked the team one time. I said, "What buys people into a product?" And they told me it's like, well, you got to offer them help, and you got to be there to listen. Because if you can't listen and you're just trying to throw them a bunch of things at once, they're not going to receive it as well as if you were to just listen, understand, process, and then finally, once the time is ready, give them your solution. And that way, they'll be much more receptive than to be on the offensive side and say, no, I don't agree with that. What are you talking about, et cetera, et cetera. Just making excuses for themselves. So
you're saying I appreciate your insight on that. So you're saying the first message you would send would not say anything about what you do or ask, like, for instance, in the past, I've said, what type of initiatives are you working on this year? You wouldn't say any of that. So you would say, really enjoy your content, appreciate being here, keep up the amazing work. You would leave it at that.
That could be also something you can include, but I would include it. I would include the first message being a praise, and then if you want to include it in the same thread of message without sending two, you can what's the word? You can hit enter twice, whatever that is, and then have that be as a separate thing and say, what are you currently focused on with your business, or what kind of pain point do you have currently, et cetera, et cetera. Obviously, don't say pain point, but definitely what's going to, at least for me as a viewer to a lot of these promotions and offers, what people tell me first is, I have this, I have this, I have this, I have this, you're gonna need it, buy it, et cetera, et cetera. But you don't even know me personally yet. And so I'm like,
Mhm.
you know what? Like, I'm just gonna skip this one. And I do get messages, however, of people saying, wow, I love your content. It's really motivating me to keep going. Thank you. And I immediately respond because that triggers the point of why I'm even creating content in and of itself, is to help others. And so I say, thank you so much. And then they tell me, what do you, how are you currently editing your videos? And I say, oh, I edit myself, et cetera. Wow, you edit them all by yourself? And I say, yeah, it does take up a lot of my time. Well, I actually have a service that can help you with that. I would love to chat if you had time. And then boom, you're bought in, right? So you run that relationship in that way.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right, great. Thank you.
100%. Thank you, doctor. Awesome. All right. Ari, how's it going?
Here we go. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yep.
It's going good, going good. Good morning. Here from Hawaii, so it's I had to hop on at like 5:30 a.m. But you know what? You keep going.
Let's go. No, that's amazing. You're getting ahead of everybody around you, right? Because they're asleep.
Yeah, exactly. First of all, thank you so much for creating this space. Like it was said earlier, it is very important to change the belief and mindset around Mondays. So grateful for this space. And just to kind of touch on Dr. Jacinta, it's people love to buy. As human beings, we're consumers just naturally, right? So people love to buy, they don't like to be sold. And so I think that was one comment that I got from PBD, Patrick Bet-David, that always stuck with me, right? But my question, Athan, is I'm in that in between right now. I'm in that in between where I no longer have the friends I used to, the bad influences, right? But I don't have and I'm just being totally real with everybody, right? And I'm not at the space or the level to have the level of friends or environment that I'm wanting to be a part of, right? Or attempting to.
What makes you say that?
I guess I feel like I'm not focused enough. For my ideas wise, I'm like, trying to or currently applied for a 501c3 building a nonprofit and trying to figure out different legs of that. And so I'm like, no one. I feel like no one can take me serious because it's not official yet, right? And here in Hawaii, there's all these loopholes and it's all about who you know, right? And I'm just like, I'm trying to get in on my own merit. I'm not dropping names or anything like that. I want to know that you can use what I have. I can help you, right? I don't want to just be selected because of who I know. So I think that's more of it. And that's why I feel that way. So it's like,
yeah, I would disagree. I think you're already worth joining those groups and being that person. It's just a matter of you understanding that and being confident as well. Like that's the number one thing I gotta tell you, Ari, is like I had no confidence. Like when I first joined the team, I was like, dude, is my information worth sharing, et cetera, et cetera. I know it helps my peers, but I just don't know if it's gonna help other people. And the minute I switched the framework to just start repeating to myself and understanding that my information is worth being shared, I go to I still go like from time to time, but I used to consistently go to a Friday meeting here in Austin with an 8-figure entrepreneur, by the way, whose tactics I used on this call to help us get ahead. I went to his meetings and I sat with individuals who are worth 7 figures and above. And I never thought once that here's how you switch the framework. Do not say I wish I was like them because I don't fit in. Say I am fitting in and I'm ahead because at their age they weren't in these type of groups. And so how you actually do that, right? How you even get into those groups as well is by being yourself and offering to help. That's the number one thing. Oh, but Athan, what if someone doesn't need my help, et cetera, et cetera? That's everybody needs you one way or another. It's you finding the people that need you and understanding why they need you. And that's when you bring in that light, that kindness. Like you have a nice smile. I know that you're gonna touch people's hearts one way or another. And once you do that, it's not you fitting into those groups, or it's not you getting a holding hand offer. Like here's an offer. I believe in you. It's like no, like you earn that because you played the game the smart way and not the hard way. The hard way in a lot of people is, hey, I'm gonna get through it. I don't need mentorship from anybody, and I'm gonna do it all on my own. I'm gonna figure it out along the way. That's like 1980s mentality. It's 2026, right? The best thing you can do is find mentorship, especially with social media, the internet, everything nowadays. It's easy to find, and then you capitalize on that and treat them like a human. It's the number one thing I do with everybody. I don't care how much money you make. I can talk to. I've spoken to billionaires, right? I talked to the founder of Kind Bar, Daniel Lubetzky, because I went to the podcast he was doing with the School of Hard Knocks, and I treated him like a human. I said, "It's great to meet you, sir. I see that you talk a lot about your father and how great of a man he was." And I asked him a question. I was like, what was the biggest piece of advice your father gave you that helped you throughout your career and led you to the success you have now?" And he was really touched by that question. But it wasn't because I said, "Oh, how much money have you made? Oh man, you're such a good person." I was like, "No, dude, I want to understand who you are for your heart." And so I asked him. I was like, that's what intrigued me at least, because I know that a lot of people get great advice from their fathers, and their success is so much higher just because of that motivation from the person that raised them, him, her, whatever. And so that's the number one thing I feel like has gotten me ahead is that I treat people as human, and I want to understand you for who you are, your beliefs, your passions, and I feel like that's why people want to have me around. That's the number one thing. And also, if you want to be surrounded by individuals that are pursuing goals and chasing success, you deserve to be around those people because you're passionate about that. I have friends in the past that I don't talk to anymore, but the main reason why I don't talk to them isn't because they're bad people. It's because we're on different frequencies. They're doing the same thing that they've been doing since we graduated high school, and I moved on. And that's just how it is. People are going to come, people are going to go. The number one thing though is not to be fearful about the new friends you create, regardless of how successful they are. That's the number one thing, because at the end of the day, the dollar figure is only a number, and what's at your core is what you should embrace. I feel like. Right. I've had millionaire entrepreneurs I don't connect with at all. And that's okay. It's fine. But I have had, however, millionaire entrepreneurs I have connected with. And that's the number one thing. I want to surround myself around those people. Doesn't matter about the dollar figure. It matters about what's in the heart. So I would say that is like, yeah, you're in Hawaii, right? So
Yes.
You want to connect with those individuals, find ways to do so. And if you can't find ways to do so, find that third door, right? If the front door's not open and if the back door's not open, there's got to be a window that you can sneak into. So,
Yes. Awesome. Thank you so much, Ethan. Really appreciate your time. Thank you.
100%, Ari. Keep crushing it and keep growing. I have strong faith in you. There we go. Coach Jay's ready. Let's go. What's going on, Coach Jay?
Peace, family.
How you doing?
Peace. So I got one question, and then I want to say a little something. But what do you think is the number one thing that has for your Instagram that has allowed it to blow up in such a short amount of time or gain as many followers as it has?
Yeah, great question. I get messages from several people asking the same question. And here, you know what? I will read one to you. So you can see that you can see the response I gave him. Hey, I've been studying pages like yours because your views and reach are insane. I'm struggling to break past low views and go viral consistently. If you had 1 to 2 things you'd improve on my page or content style, what would they be? I'd really appreciate your honest opinion. I looked at his page. Some would say his edits are even better than mine, believe it or not.
This is like a random DM.
This is a random DM from another motivation page, right? Some would say his edits are even better than mine. They're well put together. He just doesn't have a brand. When someone looks at a motivation page, they need to resonate with it. If you have Zib Zabily Doo, I'm just making this up, of course, but if you have a name that doesn't resonate or a brand that doesn't resonate, no one's gonna want to follow you. They're gonna see that motivation edit and they're gonna be like, oh, that's cool, let me save it. But then they see meant for more. Hey, I believe I'm meant for more. Let me follow this page. And that's what I responded to him. I said, your edits are great, but the number one thing people look for when they follow an account is a brand name or movement they can relate to. That's the key. So that's what I would say has gotten me so far in such a short amount of time. And I'm not going to disregard this. The team has definitely helped me in understanding content and how to go viral and succeed with it, which is why I feel like I've had several videos that have achieved such high numbers, is because I put edits in place where I know it'll captivate the audience within the first 3 seconds. So that's definitely played a part. But people, no matter how many views you can get 1 million views and still have a low following. What keeps people on the page and want to follow me is the brand itself. It's a mindset movement. It's something people can relate to. If you believe you're meant for more, you're on this call. If you believe you're meant for more, you're following my page. If you believe you're meant for more, etc. And that's what I want people to understand. Forget the following. Followers are just a number for me. What really is important is the people that are behind that follow, right? That have the account, because they believe in their heart that they are destined to do something bigger than what other people perceive them as. Then maybe even they believe they can accomplish. And so that's why they want to follow the page to maintain their consistency and continue to succeed. And so that's what I feel like has gotten me the most success. My brand, how relatable it is, and how deep it connects with people.
So I don't know if you do this now, but if you could lay some eyes on mine, I just dropped it there in the chat.
Yeah.
Because I don't do just videos. I also do carousel type posts. But I will admit one of my problems is consistency, because it's a lot of legal and political work, honestly speaking. But
Right.
What would you say is just off the top?
Yeah, let me check out a couple videos.
While he's doing that, I'll just say to the group here. First of all, shout out to y'all for showing up on Monday, right? Applause to y'all. Pat on the back to y'all. Pop y'all collar, because y'all one of the few. But man, since the new year, I'm not even gonna be all cliche about it, but there is something ceremonial about a time for renewal. And since then, man, it's just being so clear on something, having a set deadline for something, even if you don't even know how you're gonna get there. Like, hey, within 18 months, I want to be at 6 figures. Right now, I want to align everything in my life to match up with that goal. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be in the rooms. I want to, apply for the jobs. I want to make the plans to get to that goal. And I'll tell y'all, if y'all just are dead set, like I've already shifted within what's today, the 25th, 26th. I made goals not even a month ago that are already starting to take place. And I'm not even gonna cap to y'all. I am 23 months ahead of my goals right now, just for pure clarity, just out of pure clarity. Like, this is what I want. This is what I deserve. And I'll say the only thing that has separated who I am right now versus who I've been in the past is honestly believing that I deserve my goals. I think many of us want our goals, but do you really believe that you deserve them? And I think we all deserve everything that we willing to work for and plan for. So, hey, clarity, deadlines. Even if you don't know how we're gonna get there, set the deadline, because hey, the world works in mysterious ways. You know what I mean?
Great insights, brother. Yes, sir. Cool. I checked out your page, bro. Off rip, there's a couple things, right? Filler words at the beginning are gonna make me click off. That's the number one thing that and this is coming directly from just seeing what our coaches in the higher ticket program have taught. Just me with content in and of itself. That's the number one thing.
Right.
Like, those filler words at the beginning. I don't know who needs to hear this, but I don't know why we're doing this, but it's not as captivating as if, like, for example, I saw that your thing was, I don't know why we're having this argument of men versus women. We need to empower others, et cetera, et cetera. I would start like this. Man versus women. That's how it is. Why is that? And then you talk about it. You go into the body, you go into the context of why you believe that shouldn't be, right? Because I feel like so many people agree. A majority of people agree. Everyone agrees. Why? Because it shouldn't happen. What is this segregation of this person's better, et cetera, et cetera? This goes into politics, this goes into religion, et cetera, et cetera. If we all learn to love each other, life would be so much better, right? So it goes into the same thing with man versus woman. But lean into captivating them, even if it's in a dangerous way. Why? Because if you turn it around and the outcome's great, people will like you that much more.
If you turn it around,
reframe it, right? So say, like, you can start them off strong. I hate women. Women are the worst. Why do we as men say that? Women are beautiful. They they do this, they do that, et cetera, et cetera. Do you see what I'm saying, though? You're captivating the audience, because guess what? They're automatically gonna go straight to the comment section, but then they hear you out while the video's going, while they're commenting, and then they change up the comment and they go, wow, I really thought you were gonna say something crazy. But guess what? You just taught me something today. And I'm gonna call my mom right now and tell her I love her. I'm gonna call my wife and tell her that I appreciate her for always taking care of the kids. A woman's job as a mother is one of the hardest jobs in the world. And so that's the number one thing, is like, for me, and this is a prime example. I tell everybody confidently, because I am who I am. I'm my true self. But I tell everybody, man, I saw my mom work tooth and nail while she had my sister. My mom would work from 5 in the morning all the way to 3, I think it was like 4 p.m. She would drive home. We live in LA, so it took her an hour to get home. She would get home at 5. She would have to cook, clean, and then take my sister a shower, and then put her to sleep. And after all of that, she was on the couch at 10 p.m. studying for her master's degree. And all of that discipline, that hard work, made me realize, man, like, I love my mom so much. If there was a time, if there's a way, if there's a possibility during that time that I could have helped her, I would have. And so what I'm gonna do in the future is I'm not gonna let my wife have to go through that. My wife will not go through that. My wife will have to do one of the hardest jobs in the world, which is to raise a family. And I would not want to put her through any stress of work, financial responsibility. I want her to just take her time, focus on herself and the child, and that is what I believe in. And so, everything can be framed a certain way. You can be portrayed as a certain individual. However, what sits at your heart is what sits at your heart. And so for you, for example, with that video, your intentions are pure. Your meaning is, like, phenomenal. People need to hear it. And the way more people hear it is by getting triggered first. You know what I mean? Like, get them hooked into the video, because otherwise they're going to scroll and they're not going to see the value you have to offer. However, if you keep them hooked within the first 3 seconds, then they can hear the value you have to offer, and then they can then proceed to give you a follow, because, hey, the advice you give is meaningful.
trigger friendly, friendly triggers. I got you.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you, brother.
Got you, bro. Let's go. All right. I know we're running short on time. We have 7 more minutes. I do have to go at the 30-minute mark, but we'll go to as many people as possible. Mikhail, welcome up.
What's going on, boss? How you doing? Wait,
I was on mute. You're doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Now, the thing is, this is my first Zoom call with the School of Hard Knocks. It was great. Actually, I was right here. Well, I got one question, and while I'm talking, this is me introducing myself. I'm a 16-year-old teen entrepreneur from Chicago, Illinois. And at first, I was gonna keep my hand down. I was gonna raise my hand, but shout out to Josephine Green. It was her. That was the lady right there. It was something like that. It was something. I'm not sure if it was the word comfort, like comfort zone or confidence. But I always tell myself I'm gonna put myself out there, and I'm actually in the process of doing it. And when she said that made me raise my hand. Why just sit right here? Why? I get a little bit of advice and ask my own. Well, ask a question. I got one question. And actually another thing. It was a question that the lady. I apologize again, stuff. What's her name? Well, actually, no matter. You gave her actual good answer, and your answer made me realize that I wasn't too far. It was like consistency over intensity. It was about the burnout. Currently I'm in the process of creating my own team talk show. Yeah, I'm just trying to do what I love. My name is Mikhail Irvin. That's just my introduction. Yeah.
Thank you, Mikhail. Yeah, and you're already doing it, man, by you putting yourself into these environments, right? I mean,
Yes.
would you agree that your peers around you aren't doing the same?
100%.
Exactly. So you're
yes.
getting ahead each day. How old are you?
16 years old. I turned 16 on the 4th of December.
Do you know how many people wish they would have started at 16?
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
can I ask you a question since you
Yeah,
said
go
that?
ahead. Go ahead.
What's one piece of advice that you wish you can give your 16-year-old self or me, 16?
Don't give an F what anybody thinks about what you're trying to do. Do not care. It's only going to prevent you from success. It took me so long to realize that. I was beat down by my peers. I was beat down by my family because I thought that they knew me best when in reality, only God knows me best and I know myself best. Those are the two people. That's it. That's it. No one's going to care about you when you're at the bottom, but all of a sudden they're going to care when you're at the top. But they don't care about the road you went down, how treacherous it was, how many obstacles you had to overcome. They only care about you being at the top of Everest and looking down and saying, "Oh my gosh, I made it." That's all they're gonna talk about. Oh, I knew Mikhail when he was 16. You know, we used to do this together. We used to go to school together, etc. But they don't talk about how hard it was for you when you were creating something from nothing and then turning it into something grand. And so that's the number one thing I would say is that only you know yourself better, and trust your instincts. Believe that you can accomplish anything because it's possible. And right now you're starting at 16. You're young. I wish I would have started at 16, but I didn't because I was so fearful of what everybody else was going to think. But that was my biggest regret, was being fearful of what other people thought. That's them taking my superpower. That's them taking myself as a person. I'm becoming a clone of someone else because I'm relying on them for answers. And it's not the way to go. That's the number one thing. Just believe in yourself, stay true to yourself, and crush it.
Yes. Well, thank you. You have a nice day.
Yeah, you as well, Mikhail. All right. We may have time for one more. Amiel, welcome up.
Hi. So I appreciated in the calendar how you differentiated like the necessary, like the everyday things and like the stuff in the background. My question is like, what is the discernment process, or like how do you foster that clarity to identify the non-negotiables, especially when everything feels equally important?
No, great question. So like for example, the gym doesn't have to be a non-negotiable. A lot of people, they just want to work instead of going to the gym. But it's like what's gonna make you feel better, which then is gonna make you work better, which is then gonna lead you closer towards success. And for me, that's exercise. Exercise for me keeps me motivated, grounded, and that helps me just have more output whenever I work. Because that energy that I could be drinking coffee, taking energy drinks, different supplements, I'm putting it in the gym so that way I get more energy back. And it's natural energy. It doesn't make me crash, right? Which then makes me sluggish, which then makes me type slower, which then makes me work slower, which then makes me not complete tasks as efficiently. Overall, it's a compound. Like I remember someone put in the chat, it's like a compound interest of like, hey, you don't do this, it's gonna hurt you in the long run, right? And so another thing as well is faith, right? For me, I'm a Christian, and so whatever you may believe in, as well as everybody else on this call, I would say hone into that. If you meditate, meditate. If you read the Bible, read the Bible. The Quran, whatever the case may be, hone into that faith. Because for me, the number one thing is like, hey, I couldn't do this on my own. I know that God created this path for me, and it was just up to me to chase it. And so I make sure to hone into that to keep myself grounded, humble, not egotistical, and not lose my thought or my ways. So those are the two things that are non-negotiables for me. How exactly you diversify them and understand what's more important than what's others. The team taught me this with the School of Hard Knocks is that you have the Eisenhower matrix. If you haven't searched that up, everybody, I'll search up the Eisenhower matrix. It's diluted down into 4 different quadrants. 1, what's urgent and important. Urgent and important means that it needs to get done. Like you need to accomplish this today. And if you don't, it's not going to be good because you can't push it any further. The second quadrant is not urgent but important. This means that it's important to get done, but it's not urgent that you need to do it right away. Instead of you needing to complete it by the end of the day, you may need to complete it by the end of the week. Okay, so that's not urgent and important. And then we have not important but urgent, right? So it's simple things throughout your day where it's like, hey, I need to do this, I need to send a message to that. It's urgent in the sense that I need to get it done, but it's not that important. It's not gonna be a big needle mover. And then the last quadrant, of course, is not important and not urgent. Maybe future tasks, a future vision you have for your company, for your business, for yourself that you want to add into not urgent and not important, right? It's not important in the sense that the importance of your other tasks are higher as of today, and it's not urgent, right? So it's not as urgent as other tasks that you need to accomplish. And so those are the 4 quadrants that have kept me from losing my sanity with the different tasks that I have going on. I understand what's important and urgent. What's, you know what, it's not urgent, but it's important, so I need to have it down. What's urgent and not important? Hey, I need to get this done today. It's small. It's not really going to be a big needle mover, but it still needs to get done today, right? Like drinking water. That needs to get done every day. And then what's not important and not urgent. But I would suggest watching a YouTube video to see a more in-depth breakdown of the Eisenhower matrix. I just know like the School of Hard Knocks taught me it, and it saved myself from absolutely losing my mind with all the projects we have going on.
Thank you. I think I've heard of it in passing, but I'm gonna sit down and apply it because it does, everything can feel, like you said, like faith, exercise, right? Those are the non-negotiables for me as well. But sometimes I feel like it's almost like maintenance, and I want to get better at like moving that needle. So thank you. I appreciate it.
100%. Keep crushing it, Emil. And hey, I would say this, a couple recommendations. You can either do it on your whiteboard if you like it in person or on your notebook, or also Monday.com is really good. Monday is great for having an Eisenhower matrix. I also use a Trello board. So Trello, Trello, that's great to have as well. It's a free application. I think Monday it may charge you, but Trello is free. And so if you want to have your own personal Trello board with those 4 different quadrants, I feel like it'll really help because it's helped me. That's what I personally use day to day. Awesome. All right, everybody. I know we are. I know we are out of time. For those that I didn't get to, please message me. I'll be more than happy to answer in school. You can send me a DM. It's everybody who watched this. Like, please, if you have a question, feel free to message me on school. I mean, I get back to you right away, but I will get back to you, and I want to make sure everybody's taken care of. Do me a quick favor. Type a fire emoji in the chat if you guys like this call. If you enjoyed this kind of lesson presentation of me just going through the different things to get us set up for 2026. Awesome. Let's go. Sounds good, everybody. This really makes me happy because number one thing I want to make sure is that value is shown throughout each one of these calls, and your time isn't wasted. I value your guys' time just as much as I value mine a little bit more, but I value your guys' time highly, and so I want to make sure that no time's wasted on these calls. I want to make sure that everybody's getting value, and we all continue to grow. Oh, I got a message. What is your IG? I think I put it in the chat earlier. Let me see if I can find it again. Let's see. Here, let me just go to it. Here we go. Cool. I just put it in the chat, Eve. And then if anybody else has any questions, like I said, message me on school. I'm extremely excited to continue to connect with you guys. I host these calls at the very least once a month. I try to get a bi-weekly call in with you guys, but I do host them once a month at the very least. And so I'm excited to continue to talk to you guys. Keep on crushing it. And yeah, we'll talk soon. Take care, everybody.